Alzheimer's is a disease that affects more than just the person diagnosed. Today, I spoke with a Birmingham man whose life is changing as he knows it after his mom's most recent diagnosis.
Even though we had 4 hours of standardized tests that told us Alzheimer's disease, we then had to make another appointment with a neurologist to finally make that diagnosis. And that whole journey took us about 7 months.
Jake Aldo is a pharmacist in Birmingham who works remotely. He used to travel back and forth between Birmingham and Atlanta to help take care of his mom, but now they're building a home for both of his parents to move in with him and his wife.
So the biggest life adjustment is recognizing that Alzheimer's disease is the old proverb, it takes a village. And so right now, I've been traveling back and forth between Birmingham and Atlanta trying to make sure I go to all the visits and the appointments, and that's just a lot. And so we decided to build a new home that would have a basement, so we're kind of making an apartment, and Mom and Dad are going to move in that apartment so that way we can facilitate caring for them in a more comprehensive manner.
The process to get his mom screened and tested for Alzheimer's was not easy.
And so then we had to get part of the healthcare team. My dad and I had to get signed on to HIPAA. We had to be able to be part of that care team, which then allowed us to be a little bit more involved, to get a copy of the records, to read the records, to say, this screening's not occurring. How can we make this happen? And we kept pushing the envelope until finally it was almost punted from primary care without really doing the screening to a neuropsychologist.
And it's been about 6 months since her diagnosis.
What's interesting is that you can then have anybody read those standardized tests because they're standardized, and they give you scores, just like you go to a grade school and you get A through F. What's unfortunate, though, is that a psychologist, even a neuropsychologist that's specialized even further, is unable to legally make a diagnosis. So even though we had 4 hours of standardized tests that told us Alzheimer's disease, we then had to make another appointment with a neurologist to finally make that diagnosis. And that whole journey took us about 7 months. And that was 7 months of my dad and I calling on like a weekly basis saying, what's the next step? What's the next checkbox? And how do we get it done so we can keep going?
Since then, the family has been trying to be the best support system for her.
First, know your local resources. And I'll put a giant plug in for the Alzheimer's Association. They have some amazing resources, both nationally and locally. And so please look at that. They even give you tips and tricks on the signs and symptoms of Alzheimer's disease if you don't even know what those are. The second would be to recognize that this is not a singular, I'm an individual with high blood pressure. I'm an individual with Alzheimer's disease, and I need my family as my caregivers. So it does take a team of family members and making sure that there's support for all of those family members to be engaged in that conversation. And then the last one would probably be to have local healthcare champions. You know, for us specifically, we have our local independent pharmacy, Ross Bridge Pharmacy, where we're getting all of our medications, they're bubble packing everything, and they're making it so it's easier to make sure that mom stays adherent to therapy, and they're also ensuring us that we have a home base for anything that we're getting from a neurologist, from a primary care doctor, from whomever else. Like, we're having that pharmacy kind of collate everything to really make it easier to provide that care.
June is Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. Every minute, someone in the United States develops this disease. Click on the links in the story for more information and support. I'm Jordan Highsmith for CBS 42, local coverage you can count on.